Well, much smaller group.
Yes.
Ready whenever you are, Alder.
Just like the Brady Bunch right now. We got 9.
Yes.
All right. I'm sorry, Steve, did you say we're ready to roll?
Ready when you are, Alder.
All right. The January 13th meeting of the Improvement and Service Committee will come to order, and we will note that Alder Burnett is present, Alder Scannell, Alder Gerlach, and Alder Weary. And I have approval of the agenda.
Move that we approve the agenda.
Second. Motion by Alder Gerlach, second by Alder Burnett to approve the agenda. Any changes? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. D, approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion by Alder Scannell, second by Alder Burnett. Any changes to the minutes? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Regular business. Number 1, consideration with possible action on preparing clocks. We're going to put clocks in.
It's about time, too.
Oh, man. Yeah, oh, boy. Preparing dock and fishing tournament. I refer back from December 9th. Alder Scannell, do you want this, or Director?
Well, we can start off. We did
You have a
include in the packet a memo that was prepared by Matt Heckenleibel under my signature that discusses where the water levels are now compared to historic. We did reach out to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and they are indicating that elevated water levels on the Great Lakes, we do anticipate to continue through 2021 for the foreseeable future. It's probably going to be a couple of years before things go down. With that, we have noticed that the way that the restraints are built into those floating docks at Light and to a lesser degree at City Deck, when the water levels are high, the problem we have is the floating docks can actually come off of the piling that are installed in the riverbed, and then they'll float away. We'll lose them. So that's why the docks didn't go in last year. So we did take a look at some options on what we might be able to do. First option is the no action or status quo option, and that is simply wait until water levels come back down and it's safe to install the docks. Second option would be to weld on extensions of the piling. We have not evaluated any geotechnical or structural components to that. Obviously, the piles were designed at one time. We would have to bring a mobile welder out there, weld the pile extensions on, then fill in concrete in the center of those piles. That would not be done, could not be done until middle of April or early May at the earliest. And a third option would be to modify the collar and tethering device. So we've got some photographs on page 4 of the memo, or page 3 of the memo, excuse me, that show what those collars look like and where they're currently located. They would have to be dropped approximately 12 inches. That would place those collars below the water line at all times, necessitating that as staff are installing and removing those docks, they're going to have their arms approximately 12 inches below the water in freezing water conditions. I have made, if there's one thing that defines my tenure as Director of Public Works for the city, it has been an increased emphasis on safety. I will tell you I'm not overly enthused about option number 3 because that is going to require our staff to be hanging over the edge of the dock and then having their arms approximately a foot underwater in cold weather conditions to install those docks. But that's the options that we have come up with.
Alder Scannell?
Yeah, I like door number 2. I really think status quo is not a good option. I think water levels eventually are going to go down, but we're going to until that time we're really inhibiting or greatly diminishing the usage downtown, which are, those docks are used a lot for a lot of different things. The fishing tournament in the spring, I think, and all the activities on the boardwalk. So I really think, and then if we do this, I mean, waters, even when they go down, they're probably going to go up again at some point too. So I think it's time to let's grab the bull by the horns and solve this problem so that when the waters are high, we got a solution we got a way we can work with it. So I would like to go with door number 2.
All right. Thank you. Any other comments from the committee? Questions for Randy or staff? Any motions?
I'll make a motion for staff to pursue option number 2 to come up with a plan and the cost and the whole works and where we can possibly get the money. Maybe we need to talk to some Downtown Inc. or something and see if they can do some fundraising or something. I don't know where these funds might come from, how much money will come to, but let's get a plan in place and costs and take it from there.
All right. Motion by Alder Scannell.
Can you put the word earnestly in the motion, Alder?
Earnest.
I like aggressive.
Aggressive. Can you put I'll second that without the change.
Could I seek a clarification from the alder?
Sure.
Are you looking for us to go ahead with this, or are you asking to refer to staff to develop the costs?
Well, do we have the funds to go ahead?
I don't have the funds in my bond request at this time because we don't know what the cost is going to be.
Well, if we could bond for it, actually, that would be kind of. I wouldn't have a problem bonding for that. That would make sense.
If you referred it to staff to develop the cost estimates, we would be bringing those cost estimates back, and then we could take final action at that point if you would like to do that. Just a suggestion.
Well, I think my fellow alders, and I think I too would like to know what it's going to cost us before we jump in. Though I really think it's, unless it's exorbitant, it's really money well spent. Our docks are really important for our downtown. But let's do it that way. Yes. Come back with costs.
So you'd like us to you'd like to refer to staff to develop cost estimates for option 2 to modify the pilings.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll second that.
All right. Second by Alder Burnett. Any discussion on that item? You think we'll see that back in 2 weeks, Dave, or how long would you think that would take?
At the latest, it would be 2 meetings from now. I'm hoping that we're going to work as diligently as we can to get the cost for the next meeting, but it might not be able to do that.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from anyone? All right, we have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. See if we can work some clocks in there too. Right? No? Okay. Fine.
I'll second the clocks.
All right.
So we can,
New year, Randy and I are going to be a team. Right, Randy? Possible action on the review and approval of the 2021 special assessment factors and rates.
Real quick, Alder Weary. Alder Stoyer is trying to get into the meeting.
Oh.
Director Grenier, Chris, do you see him?
No, I don't.
I'll text him and just tell him to try again.
Truthfully, though, do we want him in the meeting? I mean, let's take just a handful.
just tell them nerds.
He's probably trying to join the Parks Committee.
Yeah.
I mean, I can item on here. You probably want to talk about the docks, right? I think the docks were one of his things he was always talking about.
His is our nurses. I'm docs.
I'm hoping he's trying to join the right meeting.
I'd say go forward with the agenda.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
So we're on number 2, consideration of possible action on the review and approval of the 2021 special assessment factors and rates.
Yes.
Director.
Every year we bring forward the recommendations for special assessment factors and rates. Obviously, we've included in the packet what our proposal is for this year. This includes connection fees for sanitary and storm and water. We do continue to calculate what the assessment rates are because the assessment factor is what drives everything. Based on the way the ordinance is written, that assessment factor or a percentage thereof is what's what was previously levied as special assessments all over and continues to be levied as special assessments at a 50% to other than residential property. So we still have to go through that exercise of calculating the rates. Plus, these rates are what are used for us to determine what would have been levied so that we can take the vehicle registration fees and properly apply that to what we're doing. So the first piece of information that we had under this item was the letter from Green Bay Water Utility giving us those rates, and then we simply took those rates, put them into our table. 421, the 4-inch sanitary connection and the 4-inch sanitary connection with rock excavation, the 6-inch sanitary connection, 6-inch sanitary connection with rock excavation, all of those costs did go up. So the base connection went up $25 for each of the 4-inch connection types and $50 each on the 6-inch connections. For storm sewer, the 6-inch connection went up $20 and the 12-inch connection went up $40. The stormwater management fee in lieu of, we've talked about that numerous times with subdivision projects. If there's a regional pond and that subdivision can drain into a regional pond that's already constructed, rather than building their own pond, they can buy their way into the pond. That's where they pay the fee in lieu of per ERU. So what we've done is we continue to revise those fees based on actual construction cost of regional facilities that the city has built. So as construction costs continue to increase, we have to bump our fee in lieu of. So our recommendation is to go up to $3,600 on the fee in lieu of. With water utility, the 1-inch lateral with a new water main and 1-inch lateral with new water main for rock excavation have both gone up $600. A 1-inch lateral on existing water main and 1-inch lateral on existing water main with rock excavation. It looks like both of them have come down $400. And again, when both ourselves and water utility are looking at these fees, what we use are construction costs that we're seeing from last year. So for those two items, it looks like actual construction costs from construction contracts that we had came down. Recommendation for all of our street rates, talking with Assistant City Engineer Matt Wysack and Assistant Director Burnett, our construction costs from last year are holding fairly well. They went up slightly, but not enough for us to warrant recommending changing the assessment factors. So proposal is to hold the assessment factors and associated assessment rates for all classes of streets. The one item that we had was the interest rate for unpaid special assessments, again by city policy. That is the anticipated interest rate plus a 2% processing and handling fee, because we'll have to send those bills out every year for the course of 5 years. We didn't have the interest rate when this went to publish before the meeting, and just yesterday I got an email from the finance director. Director Ellenbecker passed on the bond council's recommendation. They anticipate bonding rates for our 21 bonding are going to be at 0.9%. So our recommendation would be to replace TBD with 2.9%. One thing I want to make sure that we call out, and this is more so for Alder Weary, just to make sure that we're being really, really upfront with you guys. Staff has made the recommendation. You do not see a differential rate in here for mini storm. And we've had this discussion every year for several years now. It's a staff recommendation that the mini storm should be paying the same rate as the 6-inch storm connection. So we do not have a differential in there.
All right, thank you, Steve. Questions from the committee?
Motion to approve.
There's a motion to approve.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion on that? Obviously, I'll always matter for the lower fee for the mini sewer. I always think it's good to incentivize that with the backyard flooding we see. And I don't suppose I think Alder Scannell's been pretty adamant on not changing that in the past, as has.
Right. Right.
I don't think I'll attempt that here, but I'll try it at council. That's fine.
Yeah,
That's fine. That's fine. Let's get it there.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments on it? All right. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We will get that through to council and then we can discuss it.
Wrestle there.
You can wrestle it there. Alder Stroyer, I see you joined us. I don't know which item you're here for. Was it number one? The docks?
No, that's not my district, but
Okay.
I'm interested, but I'm here to observe and chime in when need be.
All right. Number 3, consideration with possible action on presentation by Department of Public Works staff to the Improvement Service Committee regarding a few options for more effective downtown snowbank management. It's requested that examples be provided from the 10 largest municipalities in the state, referred back from September 30th. Alder Johnson and Scannell. All right, Director, you want to kick at this first?
Okay. Back in September, we provided you with a matrix having the questions from the largest municipalities in the state. And at that time, the committee wanted us to have some further discussion, especially with the business improvement districts, regarding snow management practices. So that's what we did. On December 10th, there was a meeting held between DPW Operations Division staff, Alder Scannell, and staff from On Broadway Incorporated, DGBI, and Old Main Street Incorporated. I believe that summary memo was included in the packet for you. And what I'm going to do is turn it over to Operations Director Chris Pierlot, and Chris can give you a summary of what we came out of that meeting with.
All right, thanks, Steve. We had a pretty good meeting. Myself and Josh Brassfield, our street section superintendent, Alderman Johnson, and the OBI director all happen to be the same person, Alderman Scale, Jeff Merkus, and Sally Ebling from DGBI, and like I said, us representatives from Public Works. And we talked about concerns of all the different business groups in covering the downtown area. Really nothing that we didn't already realize or know, but it was good to vocalize them and put them in black and white. And as you all got the 3-page summary of basically, the concerns is obviously the downtown's an active area. We have a lot more pedestrians in this area than anywhere else in town. Pandemic excluded right now, but and with pedestrians, there's concern about snow windrows icing over time, pedestrians getting to and from their vehicles. And in the discussion, honestly, I have to admit that we from DPW didn't think about too much. Not that we didn't want to, but it just wasn't there. Was the communication and the education effort between DGBI, the downtown, not DGBI, but the downtown business groups, because there's multiple of the groups that cover the downtown area, Public Works, / the city, and the stakeholders, business owners, business operators, because you probably heard it from other committees where they indicate that we have the engineering, the 3 E's of taking care of business in the public sector. We have the engineering and enforcement departments, police, parking, enforcement. Engineering obviously explains itself. We're solving problems in any department. But the third E is education. We don't have a city education department. So it's on all of us to get out there and share that information and make sure people understand. DPW in the last 2 to 3 years has been I think we've made really good efforts and improvements in getting our brand out there, whatever the buzzwords are, our message out there through Facebook, through the online city webpage, the DPW portion of the webpage, news releases. And we have really established really great relationships with the news media. where we can call them, they call us, we help each other get the word out. They get their news coverage out there, and we get the word out. So long story made short on that, the education portion is after the group was discussing this, with the downtown businesses needs, the pedestrians needs, some that really came out strong were we need to get the word out to advise businesses to manage their snow to the best of their abilities, because obviously property owners have a responsibility to take care of snow in front of their houses, in front of their businesses. And then when you get out to the street, that's on the city to take care of it in the city right away. So, and there's not a hard and fast black line where, okay, you go up to here and then we take the rest. There's gray area where we overflow onto each other. And I don't just mean overflowing the snow onto your sidewalk, but, and we need to, DPW to keep up our efforts to take care of the downtown, whether it's a curb ramp and crosswalks up, which I just reminding everyone that, that the sidewalks in front of a business, that's their responsibility. If they're on a corner, it's their responsibility primarily to take care of the curb ramps, but DPW does follow up and take care of that cleanup after snow removal processes, but it's not right away. It can be a couple days after. So that's where we need to communicate with each other to make sure everyone's got their bases covered. And then we talked about drafting and abiding by a memorandum of understanding between the business groups and the city, just to, if you will, to keep each other honest. Not that we're not going to be dishonest with each other. I think we've got great relationships. But that's just to clarify and verbalize where are we? What, just to refresh everyone's understandings. And we're talking about cooperatively, the city, DPW, and the business groups drafting some kind of a letter where it's to distribute to downtown businesses each winter, before and during, and outline the expectations of the property owners and business operators, as well as the business groups in the city. Just to keep it above water, so to speak. We've done this so many years, decades, taking care of downtown snow. And honestly, you kind of take it for granted. As DPW, we just do it. As a resident, you just shovel your driveway, you just take care of your sidewalks. But we have to elevate that understanding for everybody. And then we talked about the business leadership groups identifying what street areas are most critical in their districts. And then DPW can make efforts to focus on those first, because obviously the city is a service agency. It's not, and obviously we don't do specific services for this guy on this street and this guy on this street. But of course, we're talking about a business district. What's the best service level for each of the areas of the downtown? And we did get that back from each of the zones, and it more or less coincides with what DPW has been trying to do and attempting to do. I did not put a recommendation or draft a recommendation report as to, from DPW what we recommend that outcome is. And let me go back half a step. There was another discussion that I just realized I didn't put in the minutes of that most recent meeting, and that was there was discussion and recommendation that, of course, if DPW sees the need for adding equipment, adding people, to make sure that we vocalize that to the committees and the council. And obviously we do, and every year there's limitations on that, but like they say, you don't get an answer unless you ask the question. And I want to believe that DPW, we ask the questions quite readily, and we just wait our turn, and everyone wants something, and there's only so much resources. So we are very actively, seeking and making sure we have the resources in DPW. Real long story that I just gave you, made short, is, like I said, I don't have any specific recommendation, but an outcome, but it was an eye opener, if you will, to us about the public education effort, the downtown groups and businesses education effort. And going back to last year on that, that matrix summary that I shared, or we shared with the group, if you go back and look at it, basically there are, the top, was it 15 or so communities in the state. The ones that were more aggressive at their downtown snow management, fortunate or not, basically had assistance in funding from the downtown business groups. Otherwise, it was basically up to the city hall and DPW to decide, hey, it's getting hazardous, or this or that is happening, let's remove snow. And DPW is and will continue to do that as best we can, as often as we can, given weather permitting, of course, because if it's like tomorrow, if it's going to snow, we're not going to be removing snow anywhere. We're going to be plowing the snow, and then recovering from that snow event before we can get back into, okay, what do we do between snow events? But in the winter, our primary focus is always snow infrastructure, transportation system, snow and ice control, and safety.
All right. So I appreciate it, Chris. That was a good memo and good verbal information. A lot of things I didn't know about. I'm wondering if Alder Johnson or Alder Scannell, looks like you were already involved with that meeting, but there's something you wanted to highlight or further ask about, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I would add is, I felt good walking away from the meeting that there was a mutual understanding of what we needed to accomplish. And so in terms of looking for an action item, I actually do like the idea of the memorandum of understanding quite a bit, because I think it signals to the business community that, the city is listening, the city is heard, but also that there's an accountability piece on your end as a business owner and a property owner as well. And so I really do like that. And I think if I were to say, hey, if the committee were to take some type of action tonight, it would be really to just accept Chris's report, which to me includes, that direction, really to have a memorandum of understanding. I don't think that this committee would necessarily need to see that, because it's not going to, it doesn't cost the city any resources. It's just really like, how do we manage what we have and maybe prioritize certain areas while deprioritizing, right? So it's the same amount of resource allocation. So that would be my recommendation, but I really appreciated the time from Chris and Josh to really kind of listen to the perspective of some of the business improvement districts, and obviously as alders that represent the downtown areas, Alder Scannell and myself, it's kind of nice to be able to go back to some of these business owners with, here's the solution. And Chris, and I don't know if this was an outcome of our meeting, but I saw, that the crew came here and removed the snow in that real high priority area for us. And actually did get a couple of comments from business owners like, wow, this is great. Glad to see, that we were able to do something here. So I think this is a great place to start. And if we've got problems in the future, we'll revisit. But for now, I like what we had.
All right.
Yeah, I would like to second that. I mean, it was a really good meeting. I was really happy with it. I think it was a great discussion, and I think building that relationship, I think that's what was really missing, is the business owners kind of felt they were disconnected from the city and blaming the city for things that really was kind of their responsibility in some ways, some of that stuff, and to build that communication and teamwork. I really feel that we got a teamwork process going forward. So I was just thinking perhaps the motion would be to, I don't want to receive and place on file, but maybe to just proceed as, not as directed either, proceed with.
Almost like accept the findings of the report, maybe, where because then it talks about the memorandum, it talks about the letter, talks about the cooperation, collaboration. I don't know, but
I don't know if that's any different than receive and place on file.
Yeah.
So maybe
Better.
maybe that is the appropriate. I mean, we got
To aggressively accept the receive and place on file.
Yeah. Earnestly.
Stridently.
I think just receive and place on file.
Yeah, I think that I'll second that and for discussion, Chairman.
I have a motion by Alder Scannell, second by Alder Burnett to receive and place file. Go ahead, Alder Burnett.
Yeah, I think, the unfortunate thing with it gets reported out, it's just going to be a simple receive and place on file without all this information, I agree. I mean, I think it calls for more of an acceptance other than that basic receive and place on file, but I think it was good work by Public Works and everyone else involved. So thank you.
All right, any other discussion on that? Alder Johnson, is that all right with you? I'm fine either way, whether you accept it or receive and place it on file, but all right. Well, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, I will follow up. We'll stay involved with the downtown business groups and alders, and because it's very important to communicate with the players and on the team, if you will, like we talked about.
I thought you were very good in that show, A Day Without a Santa Claus, as the Snow Miser. You did really bang job there. So,
Thanks. Yeah.
kudos.
Real quickly, if I could, Alderweary.
Yeah.
Chris, are you going to take first stab at the memorandum of understanding in the letter?
If you're okay with that, I'll draft something for everyone to chew on.
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks. Number 4, consideration with possible action on a request by Department of Public Works to enter into municipal project agreement with Brown County for the construction of drainage improvements near Beach Lane on Nicolay Drive. Is this our ongoing flooding issue? Is that, Barb? Is this it? Okay.
It is. I was having a discussion with Alderdorf earlier today. Last year, when we brought this forward, the committee did make the recommendation and council approved the concept and committed to having the funding to complete the project in the 2021 bond issue. What I neglected to do at that time was seek approval to enter into a contract with Brown County. So because we've already committed to the project, I can't sign the contract, or we've committed to doing the project, but I can't sign the contract unless you guys, the council provides us the authority to actually sign the contract.
So tying up a loose end.
Yes. So all we're asking for is approval to sign the contract.
Questions from the committee?
I make a motion to approve the signing of the contract.
Second.
Motion by Alder Scannell and second by Alder Gerlach to approve. Any discussion on that? Those in favor?
Earnestly sign.
Earnestly approve. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Number 5, consideration with possible action on the report of the purchasing manager for approval of award to Chef Inc. for the replacement of the roof on the observation building at the Bay Beach Wildlife Sanctuary for the sum of $43,936. Chef Inc. is the only bidder to RFP 3288.
So this was a contract let through the purchasing department with oversight by DPW. Sometimes we do take smaller contracts like this that have a purchasing department has a different vendor pool in their software than we have in ours. And with smaller specialty type contractors, plumbers, roofers, handymen, things of that nature, where a project like this might fall, their vendor pool is actually a better vendor pool than our normal solicitation. So over the years, we've developed a process where we've adapted the purchasing acquisition process so that it meets the requirements, statutory requirements for public construction bidding. And that's the process we used here. We utilized the best vendor pool we could, and we still only got one bidder. Chef Check, again, in the amount of $43,936. We have reviewed this with Parks staff. Parks is in concurrence with award of the contract.
Thanks, Director. Well, that's not going to make Brian very happy. One bidder. Do you think this is just a reasonable bid, though? It's nothing crazy. I mean,
yeah, the costs are fine. I'm not sure why we only got one bidder. It could be the time of the year that we bid a project like a roofing project.
Okay. Questions from the committee?
The cost isn't through the roof.
We knew that was coming.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Alder Scannell,
Second.
second by Alder Gerlach. Any discussion on that? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 6, consideration with possible action on the review and award of the contract Bridge 320 Main Street Bridge Center locks replacement.
This, with the Main Street Bridge, when the bridge comes into the down position, there's a variety of large diameter pins that lock the bridge when it's in the down position. Bridge was originally put into service, I believe, in 1998. So with in excess of 20 years worth of wear on the bridge, the pins, when you take a look at the bridge, we open the bridge partially and then run the pins out into the locked position. You can see wear marks where they're riding in the seat. Okay, so the bridge has some slight vibration to it when it's in the down position and the pins are engaged. And over time, those pins are about 6-inch diameter solid steel pins. And I shouldn't say diameter, they're kind of rectangular in shape. But it's a great big block of steel, and over time you're starting to see a wear mark in the pin, and that's causing more vibration. So I don't want to say it's a routine maintenance item because 20 years, okay, well, but a bridge has a 100-year lifespan, so it's not out of the ordinary. So staff has been looking at this, got the dimensions, got everything put together, put the bids out. We had 3 bidders, which for a specialty contract like this is actually pretty surprising. Very surprised with the bid from Lunda Construction. So recommendation would be to award to the low responsive bidder, Lunda Construction, the base bid in the amount of $90,862 and alternate one in the amount of $11,438 if necessary.
All right. Question from the committee? Any motion?
Motion to approve the lowest responsible bidder.
Second.
By Alder Scannell, second by Alder Gerlach to approve the approval of the lowest responsible bidder, Lunda Construction. Any discussion on that? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Number 7, consideration with possible action on request by KS Energy Services to renew the annual hold harmless agreement for access to the City of Green Bay sewer system to conduct inspection of the sewer mains and laterals.
KS Energies is a subcontractor. Primarily, they started working for Wisconsin Public Service Corporation. I'm not sure if they're working for anybody else. But when Wisconsin Public Service is renewing utility upgrades, so for instance, if they're putting new gas mains in, those are installed typically in the terrace, and what they want to do is they want to make sure that they're not hitting, especially sanitary sewer laterals that go to somebody's house. So many years ago, KS Energies approached us, and we have a hold harmless. They are allowed to drop their information, their cameras and data equipment into the sanitary sewer. They run up the sewer and then extend a probe up into the lateral. And then with a piece of equipment from like a locating piece of equipment, they're able to locate the physical location of the sewer lateral to the house and the depth of it. They log that, and that helps them to avoid cross-boring utility contract or other utilities through somebody's lateral. In return, what they do is that gives us another set of eyes inside of our sanitary mains. If they notice issues that we need to follow up on, they notify us, hey, while we were in the sewer at this location, we saw this. So it's been very beneficial, mutually beneficial. The number of crossbores on private laterals has gone way down, and we're getting good information to head off problems before they develop. So KS has enjoyed this relationship for, I think we entered into it the year before I became director, so it would be about 9 years now. And we strongly recommend that that we extend this this contract with them.
Earnestly.
Right.
Motion to approve.
All right. Motion by Alder Scannell, second by Alder Burnett to approve. Any discussion on that? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 8, a whole bunch of licenses. Report of actions taken by Department of Public Works. 1 is sidewalk builders, 2 is tree and brush trimmer, 3 is underground sprinkler system. These are all licenses that have been granted already, right? You're just reporting it out.
They are that's correct, and these are returning. I believe all of them are returning license holders. It's just the annual renewal period right now.
All right. Any questions on any of those? No.
Motion to receive and place on file.
Motion
Second.
by Alder Scannell, second by Alder Gaylord to receive and place on file. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Informational. Looks like we'll be meeting next tentatively this, January 27th. And director's report.
Well, unlike Mr. Anderson in the previous meeting, I am not looking forward to a good snow this week. Seems that Parks and DPW have competing ends on that. Just wanted to make the committee aware. Operations Director Pierlot and I were talking, and shortly after the first of the year, Chris has launched sort of a fun facts. So we've got it coming out every couple of days on our Facebook page. Some fun facts about the department, especially as it relates to snow and ice management. And we've actually gotten a lot of engagement. We've done, I think, 4 of them now. And we do kind of do a little bit of data mining on who's interacting with the page. We're only averaging about 4 or 5 people commenting and only about 15 to 20 people either liking the page or what have you. But we're able to see how many people are engaging with the page. And we're averaging over 5,000 people viewing the page and getting the information. So it's been fantastic. So we're really happy with that. We have Assistant Director Burnett and I have been working on the draft CIP, and that process changed last year. When Finance Committee took over the CIP, we're now submitting the CIP to them, whereas we used to bring the CIP to this committee. So we have submitted the CIP information electronically to the Finance Committee, and I believe they are planning on taking that up at the February meeting. So by all means, make sure we're keeping an eye on that so you guys can be informed about where our CIP is going. It is right within a couple hundred feet of street work from last year, so we're trying to hold that same level and hopefully get the same level of funding as well. And then again, as James had mentioned to you at the last meeting, we do have a winter storm coming tomorrow on into Friday. We are developing the snow plan. If we can get something pulled together in a timely enough manner, I hope to be able to email that out to you all ahead of time and get it posted on the Facebook page so that folks can know what to expect. This one's not going to be a fun one. We're only looking at 1 to 4 inches based on last correspondence, the meeting that we had with National Weather Service today. But they are anticipating the beginning of the storm could start off as mixed precipitation, freezing rain, and then during lulls in between bands of snow, it could convert back to freezing rain. So this could be not a big accumulation, but it could be a sloppy mess. So just want to make sure you folks know about that. And then we'll do the best we can to make sure that we communicate with you both before and during the event.
Thank you, Steve. Alder Burnett.
Director Grenier, I had a question from somebody. Does the city pick up garbage on Martin Luther King Jr. Day?
Yes, that's not a holiday for the city.
Holiday.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. I thought so. I just wanted to confirm.
Questions? Anybody else? No? All right. I'll entertain a motion to receive and place it on file.
So moved.
Receive and place on file. The second.
Burnett and Scannell. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We made it.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion
Second.
to adjourn, Alder Scannell, second by Alder Gerlach. Those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Earnestly.
It has been a fun evening.
We are done it.
Didn't I tell you it'd be fun?
Oh,
It was
God.
blast.